Welcome to Food Exposed, where each week we take a close look at what's on your plate. My name is Jackie Keller, and I'm the founding director of NutriFit, Los Angeles' leading healthy food company. Let's talk about eating out and the whole healthy food movement. While they're not always synonymous, these two are becoming increasingly paired in conversation, both written and verbal. So exactly how popular are the healthy restaurant menus these days? And I'm not talking about the fast food. Well, my company, NutriFit, is a member of the California Restaurant Association, which is part of the National Restaurant Association. And I was looking at their reports and figured out that about 71% of adults are trying to eat healthier at restaurants. In fact, the top restaurant culinary themes include children's nutrition, gluten-free cuisine, and healthy nutrition. Other menu trends include local sourcing, whole grain items, lower sodium, lower calorie items, and people are even asking for restaurants to offer smaller or half-size portions at a lower price. Today's consumers seem to be more interested than ever in what they eat and where their food comes from. And this is reflected in menu trends. And that was a quote from the National Restaurant Association Vice President. So this is really good news since eating out continues to be on the rise. According to the U.S. Department of Agriculture, nearly half of every dollar spent on food is spent on food away from home away from food. So here are some interesting restaurant statistics. 9 out of 10 consumers say that they enjoy going out to a restaurant. 7 out of 10 say that restaurants provide taste sensations that aren't easily duplicated at home, and 8 in 10 look for their favorite menu items. 9 in 10 go out to restaurants for good service, and 7 in 10 go out to restaurants because they have a convenient location. So how do we choose our restaurants? Ease of parking, decor, atmosphere, someplace new, and a place that serves food that you haven't tried before. These are all things that tend to factor into choice. Did you know that 6 out of 10 are looking for eco-friendly practices that restaurants use and locally sourced ingredients? 7 out of 10 are interested in having some healthier options on the menu. So it's really no surprise that I met my guests in a venue dedicated to healthy lifestyles. Michael Epstein and Scott Schwimmer have taken on the food and hotel scene around the globe. They are lovers of food, life, and each other, and they know more about luxury hotels and the restaurant scene than any other couple I know. Michael Epstein became the youngest Jaguar dealer in the country at the age of 19 following his passion for automobiles, and today he remains an avid car collector. Michael founded System 800 International in 1986, which went on to become the largest reseller of 800 phone line services in the United States and pioneered touch-tone technology for credit card processing. After going public in 1988, the company merged with Independent Entertainment Group and produced pay-per-view events for cable TV. A native Angelino, Scott E. Schwimmer, was appropriately born in the year of the monkey. He received his BA from Stanford University and his JD from Loyola Law School. He worked on Capitol Hill before jumping into his career as an entertainment attorney for both television and motion pictures. Scott's passions also include being an artist, photographer, painter, sculptor, writer, producer, and world traveler. And of course, he is passionate about eating and dining. Michael and Scott have been collecting photography for over 22 years, and they have one of the largest collections of glamour photography archives in the world. They're publishers of George Hurrell's work, as well as Mel Roberts, Henry Langdon, and Ian Wright's photos. The dining duo travels the globe and takes on the foodie scene in LA and other hotspots. Lovers of food and each other who know more about the restaurant scene, these two partners who eat out at least 21 meals a week for, about 26, 27 years together, they have a world to share with us. Michael and Scott, welcome to Food Exposed. I'm so glad you could come today.
We're glad to be here.
Thank you for that
Thank you
intro.
so much. Thank you so much. Well, you know, it's really true. It is true. You eat out nearly every meal.
We do.
Yes,
Every
we
single
do.
meal.
It used to be an embarrassment to say something like that, but now we get to gloat about it.
And you know, we talked about it a little bit earlier about how people make choices for restaurants and, you know, what they look for. How do you guys decide, like, where shall we go? I mean, you've probably been to most every place in LA.
Well, we have, in fact, but you know, it's not always going out to a fancy restaurant. It's not always about that. We sometimes will choose something that is, as you just said in your introduction, someplace close to our home. If we're just
Easy
feeling
to
lazy.
park. Easy to park.
Healthy is a big consideration. And then we, of course, do like to treat ourselves and go to really wonderful places, unique restaurants, one-of-a-kind type places. So it's just really how we feel and how we're doing that day.
And how do you pick, I mean, do restaurants let you know that are you on a list? I mean, do you get a little special treatment in there?
We really, the only special we like to go incognito, although obviously people know who we are because of our names, but we choose restaurants that we really enjoy the food and the quality of the food. In fact, one of our favorites is right in this neighborhood, Providence, which is probably the best restaurant in Los Angeles as far as we're concerned. One of the best, anyway.
And in fact, we're all in Los Angeles very lucky because they've opened for lunch on Fridays.
That's a good point.
So how do your passions for art and cars intersect with your love for food?
Well, I think food is an art, and Scott's been very adept at photographing food now, and food has really become an art form, and it's changed a lot over the last, I mean, I'm going to be 60 years old. I've seen so many changes because I was raised with basically some gourmet food and really fine restaurants, but the food was always prepared beautifully, but now it has to be photographable. So that has certainly changed over the years. And as far as the cars go, you know, we like restaurants where we can park close and we can keep an eye on our cars when we're driving something special.
And I noticed in the introduction that you had a picture of our dog Triple, our beloved dog, and so oftentimes he will accompany us in the car.
Oh, does he?
But in the car.
He doesn't come into the restaurant?
No.
But we have to be able to keep an eye on him. So
Well,
that's a choice.
if it's a restaurant with an outdoor patio.
Right, and there are a lot of restaurants that are quite animal friendly. In fact, we also live in the desert, and there are numerous restaurants there that will allow you to bring your pet, and they put out bowls and all sorts of other things. So restaurants have become quite friendly and hip.
Interesting. So what do you see as the top trends in restaurant menus? I mean,
Some
what do
of
you
the things
see?
that you've mentioned, Jackie, it's about locally sourced ingredients more now than ever. Scott and I don't really get the gluten-free concept unless you have celiac disease,
Right.
but this is like a hot button, as you know, in this business, people. And every restaurant we're seeing now is popping up with gluten-free menus and gluten-free items on the menu. Scott will tell you about our big hot button recently, which is sodium.
Oh.
Yes, well, we've discovered, as I know you showed our pictures a little
Right.
earlier in the introduction, we don't quite look like that anymore, but as we've been
guys
getting
look
older, thank you, as do you,
Yes.
as we've been getting older, we've realized that when you get that horrible feeling, a lot of the restaurants feel like they have to create flavor by adding high amounts of sodium.
That's very true.
And when we wake up in the morning and we're completely swollen, we realize it's also swelling our organs in the inside, not just your outside. So we have been instructing restaurants on low sodium usage, and we found that they're starting to get a trend now.
That's interesting.
Yeah, so we hope that trend will continue because we don't need salt in order to enjoy the food.
Interesting. So is there a stigma attached to the word healthy when you go to a restaurant and you ask, you know, for a lower sodium option, you ask them to, you know, keep it on the healthy side?
Oh, I don't think so at all. I think that that's to be expected nowadays.
Even in the finer restaurants. I know you guys go to
yes.
some pretty fancy places.
I think especially in the finer restaurants, they're a lot more accustomed to accommodating a menu. We went to a new restaurant that we tried out just last week, and I asked for something that was low sodium, and they just looked at me like a deer in the headlights because apparently everything had high sodium.
Wow.
So I think as you go up to a more expensive and tailored experience, then they're happy to accommodate you.
Interesting.
And hopefully the trend will go in that direction with the other restaurants.
I think if consumer demands it, right, then you're going to see more of it.
Yeah, and you, Jackie, being in the food business, I'm sure you've noticed that pre-processed foods, I mean, we're just in amazement, 30-40% sodium in products, and it's scary.
It is scary, and there's a lot of learning that has to take place, I think, at the consumer level in order to avoid ending up with a saltier product than needs to happen. So when you're on the down low and you just want to go slumming, where do you go? Is it Tommy's? Is it Pink's? Is it?
That's very funny. I can't handle any of those. I actually don't eat red meat probably for about
beef. You don't eat beef.
For about 40 years now. I haven't had a hamburger since my sophomore year in college. So Michael has joined suit because
my cholesterol was a little high. So I mean, I'm a big burger lover, but I've tend to switch to turkey burgers now. But if I am going to treat myself to a beef burger, I'll go to Five Guys or to emPOWERme. Some of my favorites are the Counter, which is grass-fed, so at least it's somewhat healthy.
And one of our favorite guilty pleasures is mozza, which has the best pizza that we have found really anywhere.
And the best chopped salad, right?
And the best chopped salad and fantastic lemonade, and they have a fantastic dessert selection. I feel like I'm promoting mozza, but it is really a good guilty pleasure.
Well, I asked you, and it's nice to know that there are places out there that you can go enjoy that are really good quality food.
Yes.
And not spend a fortune.
And not spend a fortune, Well, I thought it would be fun if we just spent a few minutes creating something healthy and low sodium and fun that you might find in a restaurant if you were, looking for it. Here today, are you game?
Sounds
Let's
great.
try
Let's do it.
Okay.
Let's do it.
One of the things that I love most are salads. I'm a big salad person, and it really annoys me when I get to a restaurant and the salad dressing is soggy or the salad is soggy or I can feel the greasy, and it just, I usually try to ask for everything on the side, but some things are already mixed in and you're just stuck with it. And so I thought it would be fun to show how good sesame chicken salad can be without having it being loaded with oil, loaded with fat, and unhealthy. So I got the ingredients together to make a really quick, simple, this is sort of it's not really Chinese chicken salad, it's a sesame tahini style, like a Middle Eastern chicken salad. So I thought we'd put it together real quick.
Sounds great.
You're making me hungry.
Teach us something.
Teach us something, because you'll start making it.
All right, so who's going to hold the whisk?
Hold it.
You are
you got to
in big
work
trouble.
with it too. You can't just hold it.
You
got to do something.
You better
You know what? You know what?
All right.
She doesn't
So
want this on the floor.
You're going to whisk. You're
Okay,
going to
I'm gonna
whisk,
whisk.
and I'm going to make the dressing.
I'm good
So-
at watching.
Let me put the thing in.
All right.
All right.
We eat out every meal. I was telling
All right,
you.
yeah,
Okay.
so start
All
with.
right,
All right. So this is a little bit of sesame tahini paste.
Yes. Ooh.
Yeah, and this is, of course, ground sesame seeds. So it is high in oil, but it's a very healthy fat.
How do you do that, though? How do you grind the seeds?
You just put it in you can even use a coffee grinder and
Seriously?
grind it
We have a coffee
till
grinder.
it's,
So what makes it liquidy?
Well, the seeds eventually, it's the oil in the
fantastic.
seeds, right? So I have some vinegar here. And this, by the way, is the sesame tahini. If you want to buy it and cheat, you don't have to grind your own seeds. You can just go
we
to
get
the
that
Middle
from
Eastern
you?
store and buy it. Yeah, from some of the better stocked supermarkets will have it, but you can also find a Middle Eastern market and get
Smells
that.
wonderful.
All right, so now we've got to add a little bit more liquid to that to get it to thin out.
Okay.
And so I'm adding a little white vinegar to it.
Or you keep taking note
Yes,
of
I'm taking
Yes,
notes.
you're taking. I can
so
see
that you can
carefully.
prepare it later on. Okay.
And a little bit of cayenne pepper. Now this
I
is
love
kind
cayenne
of this
pepper.
is. Yeah, I noticed that, Michael. I looked you up in our system from the
Right.
time that you got a couple of meals from us,
Right.
and I know that you like it spicy.
I do
so-
like it
certainly
spicy.
does.
Now, here's where we get into trouble in restaurants with the soy sauce. And so I have low sodium soy sauce. This is not a fancy one, but if we put a little bit of this in, it'll add just.
Ooh.
So
Now,
that's,
where do you get low sodium?
that's the sesame oil. This is the sort of.
okay.
best.
How low
No,
is it, Jackie?
This one, well, you know what, Michael? You have your glasses on, and neither Scott or I do. So,
Okay.
yeah, you want to set that down. Now keep it away from
Let's
your
take
pretty
a look
shirt.
here.
Yum.
Close that.
This looks terrific.
Okay, so it's got 19%, so that's not too terrible.
No, because we're going to
Yeah.
spread this out over multiple servings. So that's another thing to keep in mind is that you can dilute this by just adding in a little bit of water, and if you want, or a little bit more of the vinegar to cut through the fat a little bit and to reduce the sodium. So that's enough dressing for 5 servings easily.
Now,
And
Jackie-
it will
Or
keep-
one serving for him.
I like dressing. But Jackie, is this something that if I am on your food program, this is something you serve?
Yeah, this
Okay,
is
great.
this is in the NutriFit menus. So we use a base of romaine hearts for this, and then the chicken, which has just been poached. Now all I did was bring some water up to a boil. I added a little bit of ginger, a little bit of lemon to the water, put the chicken in, turn the heat off, and let the chicken poach for 20 minutes. That's it, on very, very, very low heat, and then we hand shred the chicken. So this
Do you need
goes
to, do you know how
here.
to do that? Or should we
Yeah.
just order?
Take notes. I think it's easier just to order it from you.
Well, first you have to taste it. Now let's put in some green onion and a little bit of cilantro.
I love cilantro. It's great. Yeah.
And now we're going to get the dressing in. So,
By the way, it smells amazing.
all right. So you,
Doesn't it smell amazing?
all right.
Yeah.
So let's pour that in.
Okay, here we go.
I think that really is what defines Jackie from other food delivery services, is that the food is really so tasty.
Oh,
which,
thank you, Michael. That's sweet of you.
That's true.
well, we know. We've
Yeah.
experienced it.
So we're putting all of this in, huh?
Yeah, we're going to put all of it in because I know this is
God, that looks-
multiple
that
servings.
looks
And of course,
great.
we have more lettuce, and you can always add more lettuce if you want to. No. Damn. Have you been hanging out with Tripoli too much?
Yes, I have. That's our doggy.
All right, Michael, you want to hand me that plate, and we'll just plate a little bit of this salad up, and you guys can give it a taste. Now,
That looks
remember, we didn't
delicious.
measure anything, so
Right.
you know you'll have to
It
tell
looks
me.
delicious, doesn't
There
it?
you go. It's that
Does look
simple.
delicious. Yum. Is it good?
Is that good?
Yum.
Sensational.
Sensational is a great word. You sweetie pie. Oh, thank you. That makes me so happy.
No,
Too bad you guys aren't getting any. This is amazing.
This is really tasty. And is it low calorie, Jackie?
Yes, it is. It is. It's low calorie, it's healthy, it's low in fat, and of course for you guys, it's low in sodium.
Fantastic.
Thank you
Fantastic.
so much.
Will that be enough for all of us? I think we need to make a little more.
We'll have to take a take home.
And this is really good.
That's really
Thank
tasty.
you. Thank you.
Thanks so much for
You're
having us.
welcome.
This
You
was
know,
really fun.
I know that the audience wants to follow the Dining Duo. Your site is so much fun, and I know you're big in Instagram as well. And you post pictures constantly of places you've been, and some of them look so fun. It's fun to live vicariously. So, if you could tell us how people can find you.
Oh, thank you so much. Well, if you go to www.thediningduo, and it's really important to put in the THE, thediningduo.com, or follow us on Facebook. We have lots and lots and lots of visitors. We review all sorts of restaurants, all sorts of exclusive hotels.
Tell them where we're off to.
And we are off to Mexico City because there's a huge food scene explosion in Mexico City.
Oh, my goodness.
So
Everybody's heading to Mexico City all of a sudden.
I've
so
never
we're leaving
been.
next week.
We
Well,
haven't been in 40.
Can I go in the
Well, why don't
suitcase or
you come
something?
with us?
Absolutely.
You know, just send me lots of pictures.
You know, if you just put a little tequila right in here, it's going to be perfect.
Well, I wish you safe travels, healthy travels,
Thank you.
and lots of fun. And come back and visit us when you come back.
This
And
has
we'll-
been really fun. Thank you for having
I'm
us.
so
We'll see you
delighted
out in the
to-
restaurants.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Bye.
Thank you.
One of my favorite parts of health coaching involves the use of metaphors. Just as a reminder, a metaphor is the expression of an understanding of one concept by relating it to another similar concept. And artists use metaphors all the time, too, as do authors. So here's a metaphorical story that you might be able to relate to. It's called The Tree. It was a warm, sunny day in the magical forest, and several rabbits frolicked by the side of the forest pond as a gentle breeze rippled through the largest oak overlooking the water, making the leaves dance and tinkle softly. The unmistakable scent of wild lavender was in the air. "I can do a lot better than this," declared the largest branch on the tree. "Soon I'm going to branch out on my own. I'm almost as big as the entire tree now. I take most of the light around here and absorb most of the food and catch most of the rainfall. On top of that, I provide the best shade for travelers in the summer and the majority of acorns for future growth and food for the squirrels and rabbit populations. I am supreme," said the largest branch. The other branches on the tree agreed. They had to accept what the big branch said. He was indeed the most predominant in most ways, his only failings being a lack of modesty and understanding that all parts of the tree were one. The trunk of the tree, in his usual manner, said nothing. Unnoticed, he just quietly kept on supporting the chattering branches, as he had done year in and year out since ancient times. Late one year, when the cold nights were drawing in and all the golden leaves had tumbled sleepily to the ground, a woodcutter appeared and eyed the large branch. "That'll keep us warm for the winter," he said to his apprentice, and with no more ado, he sawed off that large branch and dragged it away to his hut. The smaller branches were panic-stricken, thinking that their turn was next. "Your time is yet to come," groaned the trunk in a deep, rumbling voice, for his body ached where the big branch had been chopped off. He felt not only that he had lost an arm, but a son as well. "Everyone's turn will come, even mine. So be advised that you can survive longer and be happier if you don't get noticed or too big for your boots, like he did." So a tree is just one branch. The same way as a branch without twigs and dancing leaves is barren, neither is a trunk alone a tree. I am but nothing without branches and roots. And that's the metaphor. Thanks for joining me today on Food Exposed. Make sure to tune in next week for another close look at what's on your plate. And if you have questions or comments, reach out to me at emPOWERme.tv/foodexposed. For more Food Exposed, check me out on emPOWERme.tv. And until next week, remember, make food your best friend and exercise your companion for life.